Council, thank you for this opportunity to be here this evening. I'm joined by Emily Barrow, our Housing Development Manager, Tanya Ford-Goins, our Services Manager, and Pastor Stacy Dick, co-pastor of the Pittsburgh Church of the Nazarene. Thank you for being here. Before I begin, I'd like to thank the City of Pittsburgh, the Housing Authority Board, and all of the key departmental city staff for your partnership over the past 4 years. It has truly been a privilege to work alongside so many of you to bring Village of Hope to this moment. Mayor Adams, your recent remarks at our community meeting captured the spirit of this project and reminded us all why this work is so important. Tonight, you have the opportunity to take the next important step in bringing Village of Hope to life. Your approval of this $500,000 forgivable loan is far more than a financing decision. It's a strategic investment in a strong public and private partnership that brings together public agencies, healthcare partners, foundations, the Pittsburgh Church of the Nazarene, private donors, and Hope Solutions, helping to unlock more than $23 million in housing, services, and long-term operations over the next 20 years. I'd also like to recognize the Pittsburgh Church of the Nazarene. Their commitment goes far beyond just providing land. Faith communities have long been bringing people together, creating places of belonging, places of hope, and places of connection. This is truly what community development looks like at its very best. It takes a village to build a village. At Hope Solutions, we know that housing is the foundation for stability. When paired with supportive services, it becomes a pathway to lasting independence. Without stable housing and supportive services, young adults experiencing homelessness are 6 times more likely to become chronically homeless adults. That is why this investment matters. Together, we aren't simply constructing cottages, we're building futures. When we invest in housing, we're investing in healthier families, in stronger workforces, in safer neighborhoods, and in a more resilient community. So I want to thank you for your vision. Pittsburgh is demonstrating what visionary local leadership looks like, bringing partners together to create lasting solutions. Village of Hope reflects the kind of community Pittsburgh chooses to be, one that believes every young person deserves the opportunity to thrive. I'm happy to remain for questions.
Thank you for your remarks and thank you for the presentation. I did have the opportunity of going to the Church of the Nazarene and learning about more of this. Well, I've watched your work in other communities and so excited that you're here. Having lived in other places, we know that our youth are the most vulnerable. And if you are a former foster youth, trans, or just alone, like these type of developments really would help youth get on their way. So thank you for that. With that, do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments on the presentation? Councilman Gillens?
Thank you to the mayor. I know it was talked about the site was secured for a long-term ground lease. Can you share, I may have missed it, how long that lease is? It just 20 years that we're talking about?
That 55, the loan is gonna be eventually, yes, yeah.
Okay. And then, is there anything in this going to be for the operators? Just in terms of, I see the 11 million that is here, and you have just alluded to a 23 million in investment. Can you share in terms of this 11 million just for the development of the site?
Yes.
23 million is for.
So another 11.5 is for the 20-year operating budget, yes. So that's how we got to about 23 million, right?
Okay. Can you share just a little bit about, I guess, the ongoing operations of the site?
Of course. So we're anticipating project-based vouchers for each of the units. We've been in close working relationship with the Pittsburg Housing Authority. We've submitted a subsidy layering review, and we anticipate to hear back from the Housing Authority any day now. In addition, tenants provide somewhere between 30 and 50% of any income that they have toward rent. So those two income streams together fund the operating for case management, property management, et cetera.
And then the vouchers will be to the individuals or to the units?
To the units.
I just have additional question, I guess just overall in terms of maintenance of the property overall, just in terms of upkeep, in terms of management. Is that baked in? I know we talked about kind of the social service aspect.
Yes.
Just overall in terms of the operations, the maintenance, the landscaping of the site, you should just look about that, the budget that goes towards that annually.
So we have definitely been very thoughtful about that. Hope Solutions is not new to this council. Hope Solutions has been operating in this county for over 30 years. We just in the last year provided over 15,000 hours of intense services to over 4,000 clients. I would consider Hope Solutions one of the preeminent services providers as well as property managers for Village of Hope. We will have a permanent on-site manager in the day, and that property management will take care of all of the maintenance and work very closely together with case management.
Can you just share a little bit about just the success metrics or what you have seen in terms of operations with the other communities that you're in? Looking at the 15 units, you just share, I guess, what success looks like, the average time that somebody will stay in a unit, and in terms of transitioning from the property to the program to self-sufficiency.
So I might need to invite one of my colleagues up, but some of the data and impact data that I want to share with you is that 80% of our clients, of our household clients exited permanent housing. 96% of our households in prevention and diversion programs retained their housing, and 91% of permanent supportive housing clients maintained or increased their income. When we think about youth, 100% of the youth that we serve advanced to the next grade level, and 100% of our youth showed marked growth in reading levels. For the Village of Hope for transition age youth, obviously the supportive services are going to be very focused on education, on jobs, on job training, on self-sufficiency, and developing a sense of independence. One of the things that is so exciting about this project is that we actually included an auxiliary building, which is really a site that has a resource center in it, a computer room where we believe that's going to be the future for these young people to be able to develop a resume, learn about AI, all of the things that are so important today. So we're very excited about the opportunity, and I have a high degree of confidence in Hope Solutions' ability to support these young people.
Councilmember Tabata?
Hi, yes, I'm going back to the time of, do they age out, or how long do they get to stay? Or is it, they have to complete the program, or how does that?
So this is permanent housing, and everybody is on their own timeline. They are working very, very closely with a case manager, and that case manager is going to work with that young person to help them to figure out that next chapter in their life.
Will they also be able to hold jobs, or are they allowed to have their own jobs as well, or do they require to stay in classes all day, or how does that?
I don't believe that there's a requirement related to jobs versus education. I think that's specific to the case management plan.
Thank you very much.
Councilmember Benales?
Yes, through the mayor, thank you. So a question for staff. I know we're here to talk about the loan agreement from the housing authority, but can you give me a status or give us a status on the land use entitlements for this project? The land use entitlements?
So we have, our loan is going to be tied to a long-term lease on the land. So
Yeah, I'll say that. Councilor Gonzalez, if I'm understanding the question correctly, this project has already gone through the entire entitlement process, gone before the planning commission. It's received all of its design review entitlements, it's been reviewed for traffic, ingress, egress, all of those types of things. So it has received everything it needs. It has not received building permits yet, I don't believe. You have received, they've also received building engineering permits.
Great, thank you.
I think I have a follow-up question myself. So one question is, what's the anticipated construction timeline for the project and when could you begin moving in?
Thank you for that question. So we anticipate beginning construction in late August or early September. We're looking at an 8-month construction period, and we anticipate move-in in the spring of 2027.
Thank you, and then follow up, how would you source find the youth to move into the?
Hope Solutions works very closely with the county's coordinated entry system, and we'll be counting on referrals from the coordinated entry system. And then we'll be doing their next level of assessment for fit for the community.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
One more follow-up, Councilmember Clotta.
One more follow-up question, please. In terms of construction, you said 8 months, correct?
Correct.
And would that be union labor?
It is prevailing wage.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hill.
To the mayor, I guess follow up on Councilman Kibata's question. So there is no requirement for program participation to stay in the units, is that right?
Forgive me, can you repeat the question, please?
Are there program requirements for those that are staying in the units for being able to stay effectively? So must they participate in the job program, the case management,
Yeah, so they have to participate in the programs. I think that the partnership is very close between the case manager and the residents, and so participation is part of the expectation.
Okay, and is there, and once again, just trying to fully understand, so if somebody didn't want to participate, are there any cases, I don't want to necessarily use the word eviction, but where certain behaviors or certain instances will say, hey, this isn't going to work in this.
So Hope Solutions, like I said, has a very long history of managing affordable housing communities and units. They have a lease, a proper lease with the tenants. There are community rules, and they manage this with professionalism and ensure that there's compliance and that there are consequences to bad behavior.
And I guess this is a question for both staff and folks. So with this loan, is it tied, I know it's tied with certain aspects of the program, is it also tied to Hope Solutions operating your program, or if 20 years or so goes by, Hope Solutions moves on, would somebody else then be able to come in and serve as?
I can answer that. So there's actually a provision that protects the city. If Hope Solutions were to default and not be able to continue to operate the Village of Hope, there's a provision that allows the city to step in and to select a new provider.
Through the mayor, that is all correct. The loan is assignable, so if Hope Solutions was to either be taken over by another entity, the loan can be assigned with the city's discretion. After 20 years, or when the loan is repaid and that agreement is no longer in place, that would be between HUD and Hope Solutions to determine who the operator would be at that point. But for the life of the loan, I believe it could be assigned by Hope Solutions. If somebody else were to take over, they would be bound to provide the same services and maintain the facility for transition each year.
Yeah, and I guess just my comments in that, because that's where some of my reservation comes from, in terms of long-term, in terms of how the property will be maintained, services continuously being provided. Right now, we're saying this 20 years, and if within the 20 years something changes, and we go through a process of looking in front of the operator, I do lift up, I know this isn't a home key project, to my understanding, this isn't home key, but kind of in that same vein, how we work with the property and the service providers to make sure that things are properly being maintained and certain elements aren't becoming visible or becoming a nuisance in that area. And that it's never about particular individuals or painting a broad brush, but it is about how are we looking ahead to mitigate certain things that we've already had some experiences with in some key corridors within our community. So I really want to make sure that's addressed in terms of the expectation and the standard for how things are regulated and overall the services being provided, that it's not creating some type of nuisance in the neighborhood. That's my overall concern. And I'm trying to make sure that the language that we have here with this is tied to the $500,000 that the successor agency is going to be providing, that we've looked at it and we feel comfortable as staff and as a city that we have the regulations and standards that are in place, that we strongly believe that we're not going to have to deal with any of those type of nuisances.
Thank you, Councilmember Jones, completely understand. I would clarify one thing. At the end of 20 years, the city would not have a role in selecting the operator. We are providing a loan. We were approached at one point about doing this as a project home key, which would bind the city to potentially make sure that there's an operator in place. We work with Hope Solutions. That's not the avenue we're taking. They've found other opportunities to fund this. We are a portion of that for our fees particularly. So we would not have a role in selecting the operator, particularly after the 20-year loan is up. Beyond that, and even during the 20 years, the municipal code is what we would have to ensure that this is maintained from an aesthetic perspective as best they can. They will be paying into our community facilities districts for public safety services, so our police will definitely be working with them. I'm sure there's a component, and they can speak to this, working with our public safety personnel to ensure that folks are not causing any issues that would be detrimental to the larger neighborhood in this area. That being said, Councilmember, completely understand, and we'll definitely make sure that we're relying and pointing to the municipal code to make sure that this is maintained. It will be subject to our, it will be a housing authority project, so it will be subject to reviews under the housing authority, which are more frequent than even under our rental inspection program. And that is something that we'll make sure is taking place throughout the term of the loan as well as beyond that.
And I know that it was brought up that there will be, I guess there's already conversations about housing vouchers being provided to the site. Are there additional requirements or things that we can put in place as a result of that?
That's something that we can look into. I don't have the answer for you right now, Councilmember, but we can definitely look into these agreements and look to see if as part of the housing vouchers, we can ensure that certain standards are maintained. I would say that any unit that receives a housing voucher does have an expectation both from HUD and from the Pittsburg Housing Authority to maintain a certain standard, but we can definitely work with Hope Solutions if we need to memorialize that to ensure that it's in place.
Councilmember Cabana?
Yes, I do have another question, I'm sorry. That is on the church property, and right behind the church is a small complex for seniors.
Right.
Were the seniors made aware of this project, or were they given a chance to chime in in regards to this?
Yes, we actually hosted a community event, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we were delighted. The staff from that community came and met with us. We made connections Tanya was there, as was one of our, other folks from property management, and, we feel that we have a great communication, and they are looking forward to our being there.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Comment, yes?
Okay, my question is that I heard you speaking about the case manager. The youth that are applying and coming in, are they already in like a group home, or they're just youth that you have some that you're looking for from the church? Because that has to understand their case workers would be a part of their selection.
So forgive me if I confused those topics, but the referrals for any of the clients for Village of Hope will be coming through the county's coordinated entry system. So Hope Solutions works very closely with the county on this. In terms of case management, there will be a full-time case manager at Village of Hope working with the clients of Village of Hope.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Herring. Any other comments? Okay. Yes, Commissioner Boyd.
Thank you for all the positive, encouraging words of our verbal push as commissioners to have programs that assist our community that is so needed at present. So it's quite encouraging, and it's really, really effective to hear. So thank you.
Thank you. And I know Hope Solutions takes great pride in the work that they do over the years. They care very, very deeply about their reputation,
Yes.
and this is very important work to them. So we will do everything that we can to make sure that this is a great success, mainly because of the young people that will be there.
Well, I can definitely second what you just said about all
Thank you.
solutions, so yes, indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
You're welcome, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments on this item?
No, we do not.
Okay. We'll move the matter forward. What is the pleasure of the board today? We have a motion and a second.
I make the motion that we accept the proposal.
And I second the motion for the proposal.
Okay, please cast your votes. Thank you, the motion passes unanimously.
If anybody wants to go down.
We will now,
Madam Mayor, just for the record, the vote shows that Angelica Lopez voted. She's absent and not in attendance, so I just want to make sure our city clerk will know that. I heard her say that, so I just want to make sure that for the record that she is absent and did not vote.
right, we will move on to housing authority consent calendar item number 2. What is the pleasure of the board on the consent calendar?
Make the motion, accept the calendar.
And I second the motion that we set the
Please cast your votes. Here we go. Motion passes unanimously. And the consent calendar is approved. Thank you. Do any housing authority board members have remarks?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, to make a remark. Grateful to see all the people here at our meeting to see the progression and the care that we look forward to in helping the community have housing and the basics of everyday needs in this life. So that is my remark. President, thank you for allowing me to make that remark.
You're welcome, thank you. Okay. If there are no further comments, the Housing Authority Board meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now meet as the city council. This evening, we have a couple of proclamations. So I'll be reading the Think Pittsburg and Port Chicago commemoration proclamations, and then I'll ask my colleagues to join me on the floor for photos. At this time, I'd like to invite Antonio Velasquez, owner and head instructor of Payback Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy, to the front as a recipient of the free Think Pittsburg proclamation. And Yulie Padmore, and I believe Mr. Scotty's here also, as a recipient of the Port Chicago commemoration proclamation. Welcome. I will first read the Payback Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy proclamation, and it reads, whereas the city of Pittsburgh takes great pride in celebrating the small businesses that define our community's character, strengthen our local economy, and exemplify the pursuit of quality and integrity in their craft. And whereas Payback Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy stands as a valued community asset dedicated to the art of Jiu-Jitsu while instilling in its students the enduring values of discipline, respect, perseverance, and personal growth. And whereas the owner and head instructor, Antonio Velasquez, is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt whose 14 years of devotion to the art, 10 of them spent teaching, reflect a rare mastery matched only by his commitment in passing it on. The Academy proudly welcomes students of all ages, offering both adult and youth classes at its new home at 583 West 10th Street in Old Town, Pittsburgh. We love that you're there. Through its dedication of teaching the art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and building character throughout the community, this academy embodies the very spirit of Pittsburgh. Be it proclaimed, therefore, that I, Mayor Dion Adams, on behalf of the City Council of the City of Pittsburgh, do hereby recognize Payback Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy for your outstanding contributions to the community, and to thank you for exemplifying the values of Think Pittsburgh through the quality of your craft and your devotion to the community. So congratulations. And then secondly, we have a proclamation for Port Chicago commemoration. And it reads, whereas on July 17, 2024, the 80th anniversary of the disaster, the United States Navy formally exonerated 256 African American sailors, including the Port Chicago 50, concluding that their courts-martial were marred by fundamental injustice and significant legal errors. Therefore, restoring in the official record the honor these heroes had long held in the public eyes. And whereas the Port Chicago Naval Magazine National Memorial, established by Congress and administered by the National Park Service, preserves this history and stands as a place of remembrance for our community and region. And whereas the sacrifice of those who perished, the moral courage of those who stood against injustice, and the enduring lessons of Port Chicago remain deeply meaningful to the city of Pittsburgh and our residents, who each July join in commemorating this history and honoring all those touched by these events. I had the opportunity to attend one this weekend, and it was beautiful. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Dion Adams, Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh, on behalf of the City Council, hereby honor the memory of the lives lost in the Port Chicago disaster and recognize the enduring legacy and vindicated honor of the Port Chicago 50, and hereby declare July 17, 2026 as Port Chicago Day in the City of Pittsburgh, and encourage all residents to reflect upon the sacrifice, the courage, and the pursuit of justice that this day presents. Congratulations. If you would give remarks, and if you'd like to give remarks too, we would love to hear from you as well. We will defer to Mr. Scotty because he's at the podium.
Sorry, I give remarks now.
Yes, you can give remarks, you're there.
My name is Wilford J. Scott, known in and around Pittsburgh as Scott. And the reason why I'm here to receive this award tonight is because I have a lot of history with the Naval Weapons Station company. When I first came out to this area, I came out as a young man, came back to visit relatives in San Francisco. And in 1960 came to Pittsburgh. And my next trip was with the United States Navy, up to San Diego, the Alameda, the Concord, and then from there, many other places in Europe and also in Asia. During that period of time, I was a third class petty officer. Started off in aviation and worked myself up as a fire control technician. That was a job that we didn't have blacks represented in those days. I was the first black at my division. And the things that I went through, having come from Louisiana, I thought only happened in Louisiana. I didn't think that it happened in California, but it did. During that period of time, I went to many schools that the Navy had, and some, this history won't be told, but some of it is in this book, Beyond the Barbed Wire Fence by the Naval Weapons Station. There's a page, a complete page, with some of the things that I did at the weapons station. One of them we talked about 1944, about the explosion that we had. Myself and another worker saved the Naval Weapons Station from a bigger explosion than the one we had in 1944. Because at this particular time, we had missiles and warheads, not bombs and projectiles. It would have been part of Pittsburgh, a large part of Concord, and some of Martinez would have went with the radios that we had, the explosives that we had. And when I was awarded by the commanding officer because I went back in with the Ordnance Explosive Division to help them to render the weapon safe. It was a new weapon that
How's the sound?
we hadn't went to school on, but I had in Indian America. A lot of people didn't know what we was living around while we was living in Concord. We was #1 spot for the Russians if we would have ever had an attack. Concord would have been one of the first in the United States. But we all made it through that. I had a lot of friends that didn't make it that are no longer here. One of them, during the period of time that I worked with, was with him in out at the weapons station. And it was very strange that we worked in an area called segregation. That's where the ammunition was segregated around to the battlefields and the combat, and they brought back in to find out whether or not we could reuse them or we had to expose them. Willie and I went there, that was the first meeting that we ever had. Found out that he lived here in West Pittsburgh, I lived in Pittsburgh. We went to school in Pacific, and I was in the Navy, and we became very good friends. And we did a lot of things throughout the community, especially here in the city of Pittsburgh. But first of all, I want to thank the council for making this presentation to us. It's really a lot of the things that go on in the weaponization would not have been possible if it wouldn't have been for the work and the effort that Eric and our co-workers has done. And we really appreciate it.
I actually am going to hand over my time. I do appreciate both of these gentlemen for coming here. They are Pittsburgh residents. And it's an important history here in the city of Pittsburgh. And so I had actually hoped to hand it over. So I'm Mr. Mint's son, Marcus Mintz.
Hello, I'm here on behalf of my father, Willie Mintz, who worked tirelessly for the city of Pittsburgh for over 50 years. He worked really hard on his project, and I'm just here to say thank you for making this day. And I want to say, you know, for Chicago 50, you sacrificed a lot for this, and thank you again.
Can you stick to can you stay in the front so we can come down and get photos after we hear remarks from,
And Mr. Antonio?
I don't know how to follow that up. But honestly, I'm originally from San Jose, and I only moved to Pittsburgh to be my now wife, who lives there over there. And without her, I would really even open up the gym, because I've been teaching jiu-jitsu ever since 15, 16, my first ever job, and luckily it's with my only ever job. And I tell everyone that I'm extremely blessed to be in the position that I'm in. And after living in Pittsburgh for a couple of years, I was looking at my wife and my father-in-law like, is there any jiu-jitsu like around here in Pittsburgh? They're like, no. I'm like, okay. I just took that into consideration. Like, when I able to, I'm gonna open up. Now, in the position that I'm in and the location that I'm at, I found a lot of success so far. Luckily, a lot of kids, a lot of teenagers, they come in and at first glance they're really hesitant, but now they come in every single day. I just came back from Stockton on Saturday, coaching from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At a tournament, and no matter what, I'm always gonna be there for my students. I teach every class Monday through Saturday. I teach at least 3 to 4 hours a day. On top of that, I try to keep up my own training and my own strength and conditioning that I try to do. But like I told my students at our grand opening, my priority is the school and getting back to them, which is why I needed to back. It was not because it just sounded cool. It was because not only when you sign up and paying yourself back to become a better person, a better version of yourself, it's coming from me paying back to the community because I've learned and competed and so much jiu-jitsu. I feel like everyone used to do jiu-jitsu at the most basic levels, just learn and yourself. Like my wife and I are really big on it. For one day when we have kids, we have a daughter, she's gonna learn jiu-jitsu right away because girls need to learn it regardless of how good of a situation you're in. It's just good to know and have that you're not good. And for me, like, I said this when I got my yellow belt back in, like, almost 10, 11 years ago. I was asked by my coach at the time, what did jiu-jitsu mean to you? For me, I was like 14, 15, I just said that. And it's still true to this day. Every single day, I'm either looking at jiu-jitsu videos, watching it, thinking about what I'm teaching this. And then if my students go to see the tournament, like this past Saturday, I take it from work and like, what did I do? Because it's never their fault, they go out there, they do everything. But to me as a coach, it's like, I need to make sure that they're prepared. I need to make sure that they're ready, and I take that responsibility very heavy on myself. And so I'm really just grateful and excited to just see where that is in say a year's time. Because I've almost been in this location for 1 year and you're already on a lot. And sometimes it feels like the place where I was too small, which is a good feeling. But at the same time, it's like, oh God, I wanted it to feel smaller. So just thank you for the proclamation. I'm very grateful. And I love the community that we have. And I love Pittsburgh so far. I haven't been here even 10 years. I just love being in the city.
Thank you.
Now, please join me down for photos. Before we approach Chicago folks, we have one announcement. We, as a city, decided that we were going to participate and become part of the Port Chicago Trail. And so in Old Town Pittsburgh, we're actually gonna get a historical medallion installed in front of the California Theater. So the historic California Theater will be the place where the Port Chicago Trail ends, or you can start from here and then go towards San Francisco. So we're really honored that we're able to do that, to be part of the trail. So every year when we celebrate Port Chicago 50, California Theater's on the map as part of it in Pittsburgh. So just wanted to announce that, and thank you, Yuli, for all your work.
Hey, how's the sound? Can you hear me on there?
Okay.
Give me a thumbs up.
So now we are coming to the portion of the agenda to review committee reports. Do any of my colleagues have a subcommittee report? Councilmember Killings?
Yes, with the Community Economic Development Subcommittee met, well, the conversation was around Bliss Avenue, hearing the sounding exercise that went into hearing from real estate developers and others in the market about the viability of development in the Bliss Avenue corridor. So there were conversations around density, going from multi-use to single-family homes, more of a market for detached, but then also looking at the size of the parcels and the constraints for development and return on investment. And then also a desire to move away from ground floor retail, just because of the market at this point. So a lot of the conversation in terms of the feedback I was getting about the subcommittee was it just may not be the right timing at this point in this juncture. So staff was looking for feedback in terms of, do we go right back out with RFP? How do we feel about what we
heard from the developers or what the market is saying. And the general sentiment, and I don't speak for everybody in the subcommittee, was that, you know, we want to make sure that it's what fits Pittsburgh. That's what we desire, the vision that we had for development in that area. So there will be future conversations. It wasn't an end to the conversation, but there wasn't a rush to just go right back out with the RFP, but it's continuing to have conversations with real estate developers. There's also conversations about the other parcels on Bliss Avenue, that there potentially is a changing of hands or potential sale of property for the other private parcels that are on Bliss. So there is a much larger conversation than just talking about what future development on the Bliss Avenue corridor would look like if it achieves the goals that we are looking for. Another aspect of it was that they were looking for just solely affordable housing as a result. And so once again, just in all of that conversation, it was that this is not the right timing, we don't have to force it, but we can continue to have conversations to make sure that the development of the corridor meets the vision that we have as a community and as a council. But definitely open to any thoughts or questions, but we'll continue to have updates from staff, bring future conversations about the corridor and its overall development and the Railroad Avenue specific one as well.
Okay. Those conclude our subcommittee reports. We will move to, I have a few remarks before City Manager gives remarks this evening. I wanted to acknowledge, so I see a large crowd in our chambers, similar to we had at our last City Council meeting on June 15. And based on many conversations I've had as well, I suspect that many of you are here tonight to continue commenting on the data center. I really do take interest in that seriously and want to make sure we have an appropriate way to continue to have dialogue. And so I requested that we hold a dedicated meeting on August 3rd at 6 p.m. where this will be the sole item on the agenda. That meeting is being designed to provide all of you with a meaningful opportunity to hear from city staff, ask questions, better understand the project's history and review process, and engage in a much more comprehensive public discussion than is possible during general comment at regular city council meeting. I encourage everyone who's interested in this topic to attend and participate in that meeting. And before we begin this meeting and we move into the next session, I want to remind everyone that we welcome all viewpoints and respectful disagreement. We simply ask that all speakers treat one another with civility, observe our council rules, and help ensure everyone has the equal opportunity to be heard while allowing the city to complete business on tonight's agenda. For those who are here for the first time, please adhere to our time limit and that you direct your comments to city council as a whole and not individuals. I would like to propose, based on the number of speakers, we had 40 some odd speakers at the beginning of the meeting, which is quite a bit. Madam Clerk?
We have 40.
We have 40, okay. So with that, I propose that we have 2 minutes with the concurrence of the council. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will limit comments to 2 minutes. Thank you again for being here, for your continued engagement. And while we do have many items already scheduled for tonight's meeting, I encourage everyone who's here today to attend our August 3rd discussion as well, so that we can continue the dialogue as a community together. So with that, I want to have those remarks before I turn it over to Mr. City Manager.
Great, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a couple quick updates as it relates to community events, and then I have some comments I'd like to share before we get started with public comments. So, Old Town Pittsburgh Car Show this Thursday, July 23rd from 6 to 8. And then on Sunday, we have a special event. It is the official grand opening of Central Harbor Park. It'll be a family-friendly event, including music, light refreshments, s'mores at our new fire pits, and a public safety meet and greet. So I encourage residents to come out. This was a great project funded, the lion's share funded with state funding. And then also the first Tuesday of August is always National Night Out. And the city will be hosting a National Night Out event at Small World Park from 4 to 8 p.m. and would encourage our residents, families and friends to come out and celebrate National Night Outs with us. And Madam Mayor, if it's okay, I have a few comments I'd like to share. So I want to take a few minutes tonight to address comments and concerns that have been raised in email, conversations that I've had individually, and online comments since our last council meeting on June 15th. That meeting brought out many residents and voices from around the Bay Area who expressed frustration and concern about the Bio Data Center project that was approved by the city in late 2024. Tonight is the first council meeting since that day. The July 6th meeting was canceled as part of the city's traditional summer recess around the 4th of July holiday. In fact, on June 15th, the city council meeting agenda that was posted had an item to cancel that meeting prior to any public comments regarding to the data center. So that meaning there's no correlation between the discussion of the data center and that meeting being canceled because it was agendized well before. Because this is our first meeting since our last, I want to acknowledge that many residents and non-residents have been seeking additional information. And city staff have been working diligently to respond to those questions. When possible, we're to refer people to our updated webpage on this topic, which is located at pittsburghca.gov/data center. Again, that's pittsburghca.gov/data center. There have been a lot of questions, many of which were answered by existing documents and information we have shared. But the volume of questions far outstrips staff's capacity to respond directly to each and every one of those. Many questions centered on two key areas that I wish to address tonight with my opening comments. The first is focused on an environmental review of the project, and my second comments are focused on how we proceed forward with a well-informed community discussion on data center policies that allow for diverse voices in this discussion. So first, on the environmental review. Many residents simply want factual information about the project. What was proposed? What the proposal includes? What's the environmental review process, and what regulatory requirements apply? One of the key distinctions of the proposed Pittsburgh data center is the application of California's stringent environmental laws regulated by the California Environmental Quality Act, which I'll refer to as CEQA, better known as CEQA. CEQA was enacted in 1970, and it is the strongest environmental protection statute in the nation. It requires the city to disclose and evaluate significant environmental impacts of projects and to adopt all feasible mitigation measures. CEQA is much more substantive than federal requirement laws. By contrast, many projects in other states, especially outside of California, are not subject to these stringent California environmental rules and regulations. An environmental impact report, which is commonly referred to as an EIR, really is the heart of the CEQA process. A programmatic EIR with project level analysis for phase one is completed for the proposed project and provided detailed analysis of impacts and mitigation measures to ensure no significant environmental harm. That report is available on the website that I mentioned before on the data center, and I urge people to review that, and then if they have questions, staff will do our best to respond to those questions. I'll also note that both residents and voices outside our community have expressed to me, regardless of the CEQA analysis and the process that's been taken and the mitigation efforts, they do not want this project to proceed or any data center projects to proceed. Use internal comments to engaging in an effective community dialogue about data centers, policy choices, and a pathway forward for our community on these discussions. There were voices who spoke with passion and anger at last council meeting on this topic. Indeed, I've actually spoken to several people who did not share the views of the views of the speakers, but they felt intimidated to speak up or express alternative viewpoints. I don't think that is healthy for democracy or for Pittsburgh. And it is my hope that all involved in these discussions can approach this topic with decorum, positive civic intent, and a desire to operate with critical facts, as you shared here in your opening statements. To be responsive to comments, questions, in an effort to be transparent, we have outlined a plan that balances the need to address questions, create spaces for diverse voices to express themselves, to seek answers to questions, and to effectively allocate city staff time. First, the city will hold a virtual study session on July 30th. We have created a dedicated email address, datacenters@pittsburghca.gov, and are compiling every question we have received with the intention to address as many questions as possible. The purpose of the July 30th meeting is to inform our entire community on the background of this project, and then to respond directly to questions that have either been submitted prior to the webinar and during the webinar. The format for the meeting is intentionally geared towards maximizing information and answering questions. Second, at the direction of the City Council, we are preparing an agenda item for August 1st, as noted in the city's press release on July 8th. Despite some misinformation I've heard circulating online, the August 3rd agenda will provide broad opportunity to the City Council to evaluate policy ideas and provide direction to city staff. Third, tonight, once again, I see a number of individuals here in the council chambers, and I suspect many are here to offer even more comments on the data center. The city respects your desire to comment on items not on the agenda. You can consider holding your comments for when we actually have an agenda item on the data center discussion, but that is up to each and every individual to speak, and if they would like to speak this evening. Additionally, I want to make this absolutely clear. The city council chambers are a safe place for everyone's viewpoint. That's what Pittsburgh has always been about. Everyone has the right to respectfully express their opinion, regardless of perspective or any other personal characteristic. To ensure decorum, the council has policies and there are state laws. Each speaker tonight will be given the 2 minutes as the mayor described. When a person's time is up, the microphone will turn off and the next speaker should then come forward, and the clerk will be announcing at least 3 to 5 names in advance. As it relates to the rules, if anyone is disruptive at any time during the meeting or attempts to degrade another speaker, that person will be warned. If behavior continues, they may be asked to leave. And if the disruption continues after that, after removal, state law actually allows the council to clear chambers and continue the meetings. My hope and my expectations is that is not needed, but I at least want to share what the rules and policies of both the state and the city council are so that people understand. I simply want everyone to understand that rules ensure that meetings remain respectful and safe for all, and that the city council can continue the business of the council meeting. Finally, I want to reiterate that every project considered by the city council goes through a defined public process. The 5 members of the city council were elected by the residents of Pittsburgh. And each and every one of you make decisions based upon state law, local policies, and the information provided. We not only follow all required noticing laws, we go far beyond them to ensure residents have opportunities to stay informed and get involved. We and myself, I personally believe in continuous improvement, and we're always looking for ways to improve the way that we share information with the community, and I always appreciate when residents share that information. So just to summarize, I know I've shared a lot, but the June 15th meeting, residents requested more information. And the council has requested more information. And that's what we're doing. The city's committed to a productive community dialogue, to continued exploration of the data center topic. And this will continue with the July 30th webinar, followed by the August 3rd City Council workshop. I hope this clarifies the process we are following and reinforces the City Council and staff's commitment to transparency, accountability, and public engagement. So Mayor, I appreciate you allowing me to share some extensive comments, but I think it's important to share with the council and the public as we begin begin the portion of public comments this evening. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do want to thank staff, because after last meeting, it was apparent we need more dialogue, and so
I did ask for more engagement, and we're not done. We're gonna continue to talk to the community through this. And so I appreciate staff for being responsive and for putting those things on the calendar for us to meet as a community. So next, we're gonna move into public comments. I will share a little bit of the guidelines or housekeeping, just to remind folks. I know some folks are coming and some have been here for a while. But this is the portion of the agenda where we take public comments for non-agenda items. And so for members of the public who wish to address the city council on issues that are not scheduled on agenda and on any items listed on part of the consent calendar, each speaker will have up to 2 minutes to comment. However, we will not be able to engage in any dialogue. The rules that we abide by, things have to be agendized for us to provide a response. And so that's why that rule's in place. If you do speak, you may not yield your time to another speaker, and comments on items on either the public hearing or consideration portions of the agenda will be allowed when we reach those portions of the agenda. We want to make sure that we are ensuring an orderly and respectful meeting, and so, Mr. City Manager, thank you for sharing the council guidelines and rules around that. And so, with that, we will take public comment. Madam Clerk, are there any public comments for non-agenda items this evening?
Yes, we do. Someone announced the first 5, if you could please queue up, so you could take the plan. We have Mark Lindy, Jason Lindsay, Angelica Connolly, Phyllis Gordon, and Lynn Doherty.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, my name is Mark Lindy, resident of Pittsburgh, and a proud member of the No Data Center team. Regarding the survey, I will continue to submit letters against this data center and continue to meet expectations of a resident that is vocal and involved in the community going forward. I wish to thank all the members here that have come to speak up against the data center. I find it very hard to believe that a few of you who voted couldn't hold a moral compass. You could vote still no, and an item could still pass by a majority. That's sad. And the words for the Zoom meeting to educate, that's not how you do approach the public in a matter like this. You approach the public to engage community involvement. Thank you, and no data center.
Drop a like. Comment.
I'm president of Business Age Environment, Local 378, and I'm here in support of the data center, along with all my members that live out here in East County. This project has been in the works for 8 years with several public meetings held on it. The owner and developer went through all the hurdles and the environmental reviews. This project has been approved and entitled for several months. The city cannot pull the rug out from under them after all of that. No one will come here and want to build or manufacture. There won't be any good paying jobs. San Francisco, where good paying jobs happen. Thanks, please build it. It's been approved. It should be built now.
Good evening, I'm Angelica Connolly, council members. While the membership of this council has changed over the 32 years I've been a Pittsburgh citizen, I have generally been happy with your performance and believe you are acting in the best interests of Pittsburgh. And it is possible that you thought you were doing the same when it came to the approval of the Avaya data center. However, it should be clear to you by now, by the response of the Pittsburgh community, that a mistake has been made. Avaya Digital is a spin out of Avaya Capital, which means they are not a construction company nor a tech company. They are a private equity firm chasing the free-flowing capital associated with the latest AI wave. They have zero interest in the citizens of Pittsburgh. While they have 8 data centers under construction, they have put exactly 0 into operation. This means they have 0 track record. There's 0 evidence they will deliver anything agreed to by this council. There's 0 evidence any of the mitigation agreed to as a result of the lawsuit or discussions with the city will actually work. There's 0 evidence any of the promises will be kept, along with 0 evidence that if they break any promise or agreements that they do, they'll do anything about it. There's also 0 legitimate reasons to locate this data center and disclose to residential neighborhoods. But it's not too late. Stop telling the community they are uneducated and that you know better. The community elected you, and they're clearly telling you what they want as evidenced by the 25,000 signatures and counting and the numerous activities underway to get you to pay attention. Listen, everyone. Everyone makes a mistake. Acknowledge that one was a mediator and do the right thing. Remember, you're here to serve us. The city of Pittsburgh. Shut this data center down, please. Thank you.
Gordon, and I'm not here to talk about the data center. What I am here to talk about, well, let me put it this way. If I may put my back to you, council, and address the audience. You're my friends and neighbors. I've lived here for 40 years. Many of you I served on a community advisory commission with. I've seen you at the First Fridays and all the other things. But what I saw last time we had a council meeting disturbed me greatly. I have a lot of friends that sit on the councils in Brentwood, Planning Commission, Oakley, Antioch, and all I hear from them is, God, you guys are the only ones that are not nasty at city council meetings. And then after last month, I started hearing it. And I know that's not Pittsburgh. There's nobody here tonight that is not passionate, that doesn't care about this community. Yelling, cursing, I've heard some of those vile, filthy phone calls that were left. They hurt my heart. That's not Pittsburgh. And what I would ask you to do is to consider the fact that when you yell at somebody, they turn on. The best way for us to get along is to sit at the table and talk and discuss and try and get as win-win as we can. What I'd also ask you to do is go home tonight and Google the word community boards. It has to do with mediation, it has to do with community members coming together and making it a win-win for everybody. Thank you for listening, I appreciate your courtesy.
Loud enough? Can you hear me? Yeah. I won't yell it, I'll just maybe a little bit more. Okay. So, we talk about our community. Do you understand that white people are only 14%? Yeah. And Hispanic people are 43%. 49.8% of the households, English is not their primary language. So you guys are messing up. There's no Spanish translation. Oh, sure, we can go on the English-speaking webpage and maybe we can find a little translation. You guys dropped the ball. You didn't even pick the ball up. It's not even in play. Most of our residents don't even know what's going on. As far as this whole diverse voices you want to hear, really? Because your actions have not displayed that. You're screwing up. And I'm here to tell you, we need more of our input from our people. We need to go get it. We can't just sit up here and expect them to come out here. Do they feel welcome? You want to talk about welcome? Do they feel welcome? When their language isn't even honored, this meeting should be in Spanish with English translators.
Keisha Prashado, and Catherine Tucker.
First off, I wanna say, you said me, right, first? Okay. First off, Maria should be city manager, I'm Mr. So that's not here. Number two, all this so-called talk about all these meetings and all these things that happened prior to the data center being approved, no, it didn't. The 8 people or whoever came up here talking about they were in agreeance to the data center, because I went back and watched the November 24 meeting. It was maybe 10 people, if that, who came up here in support of the data center. And I would think the hundreds of people that came out last meeting, and then all the people that are here now, who are still saying they don't care and don't want it, like, that's what's important. We don't want it. Like, what is it that you don't understand? Like, I wish I would have fought this hard for housing, because as much as I stood up here talking about affordable housing, just like the city lawyer made sure I had
Please address staff
to
collectively, please.
I'm just saying, she didn't let my petition go through because I had to go to court for that, right? So the county wouldn't continue to count to see if there was enough to put it on the ballot. Like, all the stuff y'all fight against is crazy. But then you just approve the data center without input of the entire city. Cause like they said, there's a lot of scared people. Everyone's scared of ICE, because ICE is running rampant and killing people all over the country. Yeah. And we don't got a gosh darn pedophile running the country. Right here in this country. Because there's too much going on for y'all to act like the law is just being disregarded, because it's crazy. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. Y'all are not listening. And it's really disheartening. Y'all know the love that I have for all of you guys, and it's really a problem. We don't want it. Period.
There were so many questions and reservations for affordable housing. It really made me question how many questions and reservations people had before they put pen to paper about a project that they didn't tell us about. I also would like to say, we should really not waste our time telling people how to react to this situation and telling us that we should sit at a table that we would never I really don't have it for you guys today. I feel like you understand comprehensively what's going on. I just think the money is bigger than whatever it is that we have going on. If you really cared about us, about the children, I really think that you would take the time to listen to us, maybe listen to the parents, and take into consideration that none of us would like this. Even if we were to put it somewhere, Alcatraz, that's more that my boss said, that kind of makes a little bit of sense, but I want you to think, when we had a drought, Northern California is sacking a bunch of water to Southern California. So if we have this data center here, what happens next? I'm just trying to figure out, because then we're gonna be depleted of resources, and then we're gonna be exporting our resources everywhere else we here. So when are we gonna start putting money and time and care and consideration into here? That pothole on Garcia almost took me and my family out. We know the busy streets. I'm just trying to, y'all close YMCA, y'all trying to say that you want a place of comprehensive technology for kids to learn about AI. Where do they even have a place to play? Where do they have a place to be heard? Because I'm not finding it.
As the elected officials, when making a decision, you should always consider what's best for the citizens. On the website of the company building the data center, it shows a supportive city council approved with a unanimous vote to build the data center. I know some of you weren't on the council, we had a different city manager at that time, but you've all signed up. You've agreed to doing an environmental injustice, an injustice to the quality of life through the house of worship that's over there, to the Rancho Middle School, to the residents of the city of Pittsburgh, and to everyone that uses West Wheaton as a food fair. The priority must always be people over profit. No residential zone should ever be changed to allow generators, large industrial cooling fans, continuous operating equipment, near homes, schools, places of worship. Health and safety of the people must always be the priority. Please help me understand what was said that allowed you to bring something that's gonna have a negative impact on our lives. People across the country are mobilizing to push back against other development of data centers. We need you to step up to the plate. Put a stop to it. If you can't put a stop to it, put legislation in place that says that they have to either slow down or shut down until they deal with the nuisance that they're going to do. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. The data center project must be brought back as a regular agenda item for decision, not just for discussion. Because the city failed to properly inform the city's Spanish-speaking population, which makes up 45% of Pittsburgh residents. For meetings where this project was considered, agendas were not provided in Spanish as required under the Brown Modernization Act. I confirmed this with my public records request and was told via email that the city's response was that they could not locate any records showing Spanish language mailers or translated project notices, Spanish language presentations or community meetings or interpreter contracts. In other words, the city has no records demonstrating the project specific outreach to Pittsburgh Spanish-speaking community during the 2024 approval process. In addition, the council did not fully research the impacts on the families who will have to live with the noise pollution, air pollution, and health risks. How do I know this, you may ask? Because just before leaving the June 15th meeting at almost midnight, a resident who also spoke was inches away from me and asked Councilmember Banales if he or any other member of the council had visited a data center to hear the constant noise or spoken to anybody around living near a data center. His response was, and I quote, "The short answer is no." Again, and I quote, "The short answer is no." So you did not do your research. This project must be returned. This project must be returned as a public agenda item, not for discussion, but for an immediate moratorium on all phases of the data center. Thank you.
Hi, I am a Pittsburgh resident my entire life. I am Pittsburgh proud. They are Pittsburgh proud. You sold this to us as a technology center. Sorry. Not a data center. You did it behind closed doors, hoping it would slip through quietly. Shame on you. Looking at other technology parks in the area, for instance, San Ramon Technology Park is a testing center that has over 130 engineers and scientists. We will not have any. You are taking away our history of the Stone Bend Rifle Range and throwing it in the trash. It was a gift from our government for open space for your constituents to enjoy our hills and wildlife, not for you to destroy. When I was a kid, I flew kites there. Behind closed doors, we made a deal that we don't want. A deal that will hurt our community, our home values, our people's health, and not to mention the noise pollution and air pollution. You say the water will be a closed loop system? What happens in 2 years when that water has to be changed out? Where is the poisonous water going to be treated and drained to? It's gonna be drained into our Delta waterway and then come back and be used in our homes? How is Pittsburgh Power supply power when they're in the process of replacing the corroded high voltage lines that run under the bay to supply power to San Francisco neighborhoods? And that is currently a minimum of a 2-year project, and the power plant will run at only 40%. Pittsburgh Power is still on the same grid that is already at capacity, where we will suffer outages. How will the generators be powered? They're diesel, living in a city that has been in the Guinness Book of World Records for the most constant wind. The particulate matter.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker.
Sadie Cisneros, Alda Graff. It's Andrea Hyatt, Teresa Martin, Faith O'Connor, Sadie Cisneros, and Awilda Graff. First speaker is Andrea Hyatt.
Hi, my name is Andrea Hyatt. After this project was approved and was challenged under CEQA, the lawsuit resulted in significant additional protections, including recycled water, renewable energy equipment, stronger noise controls, blah, blah, blah. Those are not minor revisions. They demonstrate that the important environmental issues remain unresolved after approval. The response to the CEQA report that I was able to read since our last city council meeting leaves so many holes and so many vague responses, including the settlement's clean construction commitment contains an exception that may allow equipment below the preferred Tier 4 final standard if the developer documents that only 2 fleet owners or operators in the Pittsburgh region could not provide compliant equipment. It doesn't say how far, so 2 equipment suppliers at Pittsburgh have to have these certain Tier 4 things, and if they don't, they can put any pollution causing piece of equipment in there. That's crazy, there's so many holes in this whole thing. It shocked me that somehow this got through. The other thing I want to say is history will not judge this council by whether the project was approved. It will judge you by whether you ensure that the project, if it's built, was fully and honestly reviewed, fully mitigated, and lawfully permitted. If any city permits or approvals remain pending, I respectfully ask you to pause those approvals until the public has a meaningful opportunity to ask questions, receive answers, and participate in open discussion. Public participation is the most valuable before the decisions become irreversible. My understanding is there are still permits that haven't been finalized and that we can still stop this data center. I'm relying on you guys to do that. Nobody wants these data centers to do that.
I'm representing Andrew, but this is a regional issue, so I'm here today speaking to you. I've spoken to you before. So a couple things, right off the bat, the water is a real issue. 58,000 gallons per day is not actually true because they're gonna reject 25% of that if it's not right, so that's already a number, okay? You change the FIR from 0.5 to 1.5 through the general plan, which is a huge issue. Doing that because now we're up to 3 million gallon flush outs every 3 to 5 years. That water plant cannot handle that. I'm sorry, but 48-hour period, 3 million gallons. Yeah, it's gonna be sad, okay? For the person who wants this project who is from the union, did you talk about a long-term union contract to keep that place updated and everything else, or are you just going in for the first piece of it? Because that's also a problem, okay?
Please address the council.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, I'm responding to him, okay? And then we have LFNs, which are not covered at all in CEQA. These are low frequency vibrations. They cannot be stopped by louvers insulated walls or anything else except mass, as in a lot of dirt, galleons, thick mass things. Those will not stop it, and they will certainly reach that school. They will reach that church down the road. They will hit everybody else on Golf Club Road. Those homes will lose their value, and people will start moving out of the city. If you do not change what you have done here with this deal, this city is gonna lose residents, and it's gonna go downhill in 20 years. I can guarantee you that. It is going to be really bad if you do not do something and change how you're doing this deal. Because quite frankly, you're also getting conned and ripped off.
Hello, my name is Faith. I'm a very concerned resident of Pittsburgh. In terms of education, you guys clearly do not have that as a priority. I just found out that due to Pittsburgh's budget cuts, Pittsburgh Library will be closed on Mondays starting April 3rd. How is it in the same city, a library is forced to close its doors while a data center is given so much care? And in terms of people who are focused on terms of tone, that is a tactic used against Black and brown people for centuries. Not only am I demanding a ban on the data center, I'm also demanding that the city use this year's budget to improve the infrastructure of the Pittsburgh Library. There is a literacy crisis. There's also a 26-point gap in literacy proficiency between white students and Black, Hispanic, Native American students. Why should white kids in Water Creek, San Ramon, Lafayette, Orinda, and Pleasant Hill, and Brentwood be given modern libraries with private study rooms? Meanwhile, Pittsburgh Library doesn't have any of that. We really need to listen. If you want to focus on education, then improve this library. Actually care about this community.
My name is Sadie. Hi. So data centers in the US use our drinking water in two ways. The first, direct on-site water consumption using an unnecessary cooling method called evaporative cooling, which evaporates fresh water or drinking water into vapor. The second way is data centers use water through indirect water consumption. 75% of the water footprint of data centers is actually due to off-site trade-offs between water and energy. So there are actually two methods to cool data centers that don't use any water, so we're choosing to spend our money, we're choosing to actually cut costs to use our drinking water instead of using alternative methods that cost a little bit more. Like D2C or direct chip-to-chip cooling, they do not use any water. Single-phase immersion cooling also does not use any water, so we're choosing to use our drinking water. We're not choosing, the government is choosing to use that. You'd wonder why we are not using these vastly efficient methods, and the answer is cost. The sole reason for our freshwater being abused is greed. Data centers are frequently built in low-income and economically distressed areas. Companies target these locations for cheap land, tax breaks, and lower resistance from the people. Groups like the National Association of Advancement of Public Schools are raising alarms over the burden data centers placed on vulnerable communities. A hyperscale facility can draw 100 to 500 megawatts of electricity, equivalent to that of a small city. The power creates EMF sources. EMFs have been linked by credible, peer-reviewed, published scientific studies to childhood leukemia, central nervous system tumors, brain cancer, breast cancer, Alzheimer's, cognitive dysfunction, miscarriage, ADHD, obesity, asthma, oxidative stress, free radical formation, and DNA damage. Okay, so pretty much everything that data centers require produce EMFs. The cooling systems, they're generators.
Good evening, City Council, City Mayor, Manager. I believe in advancement for Pittsburgh, for our city. I'm opposed to the data center, especially when it's right across the street from a junior high school and residents. And there's vulnerability there and hazards to be seen yet. Thank you, City Manager, for at least listening to everyone and setting up the other meeting for August 3rd. But I'm wondering how you're gonna notify all the residents who don't have Facebook or don't have Zoom or Nextdoor. That is a very important factor. And the other reason I'm up here is because I'm requesting at least a 2-year moratorium for all these projects, all data centers that are being proposed for Pittsburgh.
Next speakers, we have Cindy Alvarenga, Kevin Sumner, Marty Perez, Sherry Harewood, and Judy Duziak. First one is Cindy.
Hello, my name is Cindy. I'm an Antioch resident, but today I'm here to represent not only my family who lives in Pittsburgh, but as well as the surrounding communities that will be affected by the construction of this AI data center. We are seeing currently on a national scale that the struggle against these AI data centers is not unique to Pittsburgh alone. Time and time again, the local government ignores the needs of the people, taking positions of power with the oath to protect their communities. And yet somehow, time and time again, we see these same local government positions putting profit over the needs of working class people like us. The general consensus is no to this AI data center, but our words as constituents apparently mean nothing to you. It is not enough to say that this will potentially bring more jobs, that this will potentially help grow Pittsburgh's economy. We can no longer argue off of potential, but what we can do is talk about the actual, the reality that this will impact low-income communities, that the consequences will manifest in poor health, in air pollution, in contaminated water, and the overall decrease in general well-being for the Pittsburgh community and surrounding cities. I have family in Pittsburgh. Nieces and nephews who attend school here. So it breaks my heart to know that the proposed location in which this AI data center will be built at is next to a middle school. This is our future. These children will be the next generation to live in the city. So for you to risk the health of thousands upon thousands of people for the possibility of 20 to 30 permanent jobs is shameful. On top of that, it is no surprise that you are all willingly choosing to build this in a black and brown area where many of the residents that live there don't even have the access to express their disdain against this project. Shame. If you have the money to fund the things people of Pittsburgh actually need, like education, housing, and recreational centers. So with that being said, I hope you find it in your heart to finally put the need. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kevin. I am a high school teacher in Solano County, living in Vallejo. I care deeply about the future of our children. I am here speaking to oppose the data center in Pittsburgh. This project was approved completely undemocratically, has negative short-term and long-term consequences. I want to take note of how little the will of the people has been listened to throughout this entire process. The former Delta View Golf Course was sold to Energy Delivery Solutions for a massive $6 million discount without a single alternative being named, no being offered, and no everything. The public was not honestly informed about this process until almost a decade later, when the project had massively changed context. There may have been meetings about this 8 years ago, that's great. People now, not 8 years ago, not 2 years ago, but now, not just need to be heard, but to make the decisions themselves, the decisions they want to make. If a project could potentially harm the people, the children, the living things in the community has the right to know and to have a say. These potential negative consequences from the data center are as follows. Noise pollution in the form of a 24/7 low hum of dozens of diesel generators only 500 feet away from where people live. The possibility of increasing electricity bills from every resident. Diesel generators pumping out the equivalent of over 5,000 trucks idling in place every day, and the possibility of property values decreasing. The continuation of the Pittsburgh Data Center project would mean the city has completely ignored the will of its population, a complete loss of our power on autonomy, long-term health consequences for our communities that rely on the Delta, and a decline in the quality of life for Pittsburgh residents as a whole. The people of Pittsburgh deserve a say in the health of their community and the environment they rely on to survive. The people of Pittsburgh will not stop fighting until the project is defeated.
City Council members. First of all, I'm 63-year born and raised in Pittsburgh. I retired from the steel mill here with 30 plus years. So good evening. I believe you are not completely informed of the negative effects of the data center, and the city council made bad judgment for not informing the complete city of the data center project. As I said, I was a steel worker now, I was a union official too. I believe the city of Pittsburgh would not be in this situation if the city council would have supported United Steelworkers more to keep the steel mill open. We requested from the city council to give letters or to meet with us in Sacramento with representatives and senators. We fell on deaf ears. We had 1 or 2 meetings from due to COVID, that was it. I'm asking the city council members to put a moratorium for the second, third phase of the proposed data center and any future data centers, and for any Pittsburgh city council members or any city committee members to recuse from any votes if they have any conflicts of interest. Thank you.
Sherry Harwood. I am requesting reconsideration of the proposed data center and place a moratorium on the Pittsburgh data center. There are too many unknowns surrounding data centers. It is somewhat unclear to me as to how residents were notified, as I live across the street and did not receive notice about the data center. I did see in the newspaper about the technology center, but never received anything about the data center. I am concerned for my health and for the next generation's health. Please consider the residents as you make decisions that will undoubtedly affect us. Please do better for the residents. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Judy. I've spoken before. I've been a resident since 1980. I have 4 children I raised here and 3 grandchildren now. I just want to reiterate that it is imperative that phase 1 never happens under any circumstances. All the damage would already be done, or just be aware of phases 2 and 3. Once it's here for good. Our life will be forever changed for the worse. That will be the legacy we leave for our children and our grandchildren and our future generations. And also, I know you know, but do you really care about how life-changing this is for thousands of people? If it goes through, it would do so much damage on so many levels. I personally would be forced to lose. Where would I go? My home since 1980 would be practically worthless. I'm just a regular long-term resident, but my own personal life and my family would be forever damaged. For example, I've been trying to retire. I now have to put that on hold because of this. I have a little 2-year-old grandson, Mateo, who's been hospitalized in the neonatal pediatric ICU for severe lung problems, and he would no longer be able to come visit his Nana at her house anymore. Please put something else there, anything else, but just not this data center. I implore you to follow the current trend in our country to ban data centers and to do the right, moral, and ethical thing and not allow any phase of this monstrous data center to happen. Thank you.
Angela Marmuch, Oscar Rosario, Omari Perkins, and Frank Perkins. Alan Tauber, Angela Marmuch, Oscar Rosario, Omari Perkins, and Frank Perkins.
Good evening.
The world is spinning on a different axis, it seems, these past years. And this imbalance has come home to Pittsburgh. I'm not talking about orange orangutan president and his love affair with a guy by the name of Vlad Tula. This imbalance is felt right here in Pittsburgh. Over 75 data center projects are actually being stalled right now nationwide. Because the reality of electric grids, the limited water supplies, are putting massive strains on resources, and I think people are realizing this. Low frequency noise and diesel fumes from generators will most certainly hover over entire neighborhoods during the peak summer demands, when it's more than likely that they'll have to be in operation. This is a nationwide issue. Leaders in North Carolina, Colorado, New York, and even our nearby Oakley are all saying no to further data center rollouts. And we need to do the same. Over 24,000 local citizens have voted against this project. And the numbers are growing daily. I would imagine after tonight's meeting, it's gonna go up significantly. This is a very unpopular project. I'm asking you guys not to be tone deaf and to listen to us.
Amen.
Despite what some council people have said in last month's meeting, these 24,000 people plus the 400 citizens that were there last week are a much better representation of our community desires than just 5 people sitting.
Thank you, Speaker Ganser.
Thank you.
Angela, please.
Good evening, my name is Angela Carmouche. My family has been here since 1930. My late grandmother, Curly Jackson, was an avid member in the community. She taught each and every last one of us to be involved. Now, I am not as vocal, well, I am vocal. Let me take that back. I move behind the scenes. My grandmother moved in the forefront. The same passion that she carries, her family's legacy carries that. We move in silence. We move differently than she did. But we're still here. We're still fighting, and we're depending on you to do what is right. And like someone said earlier, it's okay to rethink the prior decision. Even you, I'm sure you have more information than what you had prior. Do the right thing. That's all we're asking.
Hello, I'm Oscar Osorio. I'm here to tell that I am very ashamed of you guys. This data center says, does a lot of harm to the people that live here. A lot. A lot of you guys were saying that, oh, but it's gonna be reinforced. We're gonna have recycled water. All that stuff, water doesn't keep recycling over and over and over. Things leak, things get corroded, things come out. Water's gonna get polluted to our drinking water too, where people go fish. Who eats that fish? We do. We have a seafood festival every year. Who's gonna come to eat fish here after we have a data center? Who? Nobody's gonna wanna come here anymore. You guys have to open stuff that's gonna make people come here. We need a lot of stuff here. I'm glad that Comeback Jiu-Jitsu came to us. That's something that we needed, because the only one we had before was Mike, the guy that had one right here, and he passed away. Rest in peace. And I'm glad, but we need more stuff like that. Because all these people here, we are family, we are a community that is strong. And we look at people to be like, okay, our leaders are gonna help us. But the dictator that we have now is failing us. So then we look at you guys thinking, okay, we could look at to them, but now you guys are failing us too. I asked people, hey, where's the pump you guys promised us? When we had COVID, I kept looking, you guys kept saying, oh, park's coming. I talked to a guy, he said, oh, we're still gonna build a park right next to the data center. Who the hell's gonna go to that? I'm sorry, but who's gonna go to that? Why are we gonna go there and get polluted? Like, you guys gotta think. Our time here is done.
Hi, I'm Marty Perkins. I absolutely hate public speaking, council members. But I feel like I have to say something, honestly, because I initiated the movement. I think just seeing everyone show up here now, because it shows that, there maybe was a fail in transparency as far as involving the community. I know it's been brought up, like, as far as like developmentally, like, how can I say, you wouldn't, like, how can I say, get news out about this development any different than the other developments brought up, right? But I feel like because it's so close in a residential area, I would think, maybe you would have thought differently. And I'm really just hoping that you guys see this movement, you hear us, we're out there protesting, we're showing up to the car show, maybe any other future events. We feel strongly about this matter. I feel like City Council failed tremendously as far as transparency for the last few years. I unfortunately was busy at home with babies. I wasn't as involved. I think a lot of us, were busy with work, family, people being sick, so we're not as involved. We voted you into this position hoping that you do have the same wants for Pittsburgh as a lot of us do. That's really what I expected. That's what I see when I look at a lot of you. And unfortunately, I feel like you failed. And I feel like it's okay for you guys to say I failed, like, to say you failed. It's okay to be humble and admit that you failed and try to correct it, see us, respond to us, yeah. And then just wanted to mention Giovanni, your Facebook comment, seeing that you shared that you care about the quality of life for
Please address the
Pittsburgh.
council as a whole.
I would hope you all care about the quality of life for Pittsburgh, and this isn't it. That's all, thank you.
Kevin Perkins, resident here in Pittsburgh. 26,000 signatures so far that oppose the data center. Roughly 65 to 70% of the United States that also oppose data centers. Now, why is that? Now, when you guys sold the golf course for supposed to be for 16 million, you guys dropped it down to 6 million less. Other thing is, when I first was in Pittsburgh, I always drove the road that's next to the current future data center supposed to be there, the golf course. I always drove by seeing it playing golf. A few of my buddies that I know this, they used to come to Pittsburgh and they used to play golf. And then one day, I currently drove past it and I wondered what happened to the golf course. I didn't know that you guys actually sold it for this data center. Another thing is you guys named it a technology park. When I think of a technology park, I think that, we have somewhere to go, our kids can go and use, technology based, but that is not it. All these data centers that's actually being built, the words are being turned around, so they're not actually being told to the community exactly what it is. If you guys actually tell the community, hey, there's going to be a data center, that's when there's going to get uproar and everyone's going to oppose it. Now, since we came out last month in June, you guys see how angry your citizens is. We're here tonight, once again, expressing how we feel towards you guys and the decision you guys made. I'm demanding a 2-year moratorium on this project. You guys really don't understand the major aspect to this deal you guys did. It's not good for the community. It may be good for you guys because you guys made a quick buck off of the deal, but in the end, it's Pittsburgh.
Navarro, Jillian Elliott, Maen Lillis, and Coral A. Again, it's Cindy Kirkhamel, Jennifer Navarro, Jillian Elliott, Maen Lillis, and Coral A. First one is Cindy.
Hi, good evening. Let me ask you, City Council, if this data center is so great and awesome for the city of Pittsburgh, why was it kept a secret from Pittsburgh residents?
Yeah.
Where was the democracy then? The negative health impacts that this data center will have on our health and livelihood is not lost on me, and it shouldn't be lost on all of you either. I want to ask of you to please stop lying to us and stop lying to yourselves. This data center will not bring permanent jobs or economic development to Pittsburgh. This is nothing short of a corrupt business deal with no thought or regard whatsoever for the many real human lives it will affect. Data centers have been being built all over the country in the same alarming, secretive, and unscrupulous way. Where are your morals? Where are your ethics? Where is your conscience? Now it's up to you, City Council. The onus is on you to fix this. We don't want a virtual workshop. We don't want an FAQ. We demand a moratorium for 2 years on this data center project. Always remember that we, the people of Pittsburgh, voted you in, and we can and we will hold you out. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Mayor Adams and City Council members. My name is Jennifer. I'm a Pittsburgh resident. I stand with all the residents who have already spoken out tonight and want to add my voice as my professional background and more than 25,000 residents formally requesting an immediate moratorium on this project. I've spent 12 years building accessible, equitable, preventative health programs for San Francisco and Contra Costa counties. So when I look at this project, I'm not only looking at the zoning questions, I'm also looking at the public health questions. And the numbers that this council are not adding up on the council's side. Pittsburgh is a city of over 77,000 people, roughly 77% of residents are people of color with a median individual income of around $41,000. We already carry higher death diseases than any other county average because of the historical, socioeconomic, and environmental burdens, not because of anything that the residents did, but because of where the industry has repeatedly been cited. We already heard of our residents live with obesity, asthma, respiratory illness are already elevated here because of the proximity to heavy industry and major roadways. Cardiovascular disease is already the leading cause of death in this region. So we're carrying a huge heavy burden. Let's be honest about what's driving this. This is a money-motivated decision-making. Prioritizing revenue over children's well-being is not the way. Prioritizing revenue over land and water is not the way. Prioritizing global tech interests over local residents this council was elected to serve is not the way. My ask tonight is for a better explanation of the decisions that were already made. It is for an immediate moratorium, a real pause, so this community can see the environmental health research before, not after our health is out.
Hello, my name is Jillian Elliott. I'm from next door in Martinez, but as they say, water flows and air flows. In 2024, when this data center was approved by the Pittsburgh City Council, the country was just beginning to hear about data centers, and they seem to have the potential to bring jobs and capacity to communities. 2 years later, the country has hundreds planned or in operation, and the problems are compounding every week. Communities who have them are struggling with problems they didn't anticipate, from water consumption, energy pollution, consumption, noise. And in our area, we have fires and drought. So the risks are, manifold. What are the actual risks of this center? The surrounding area, and also, greater Contra Costa. We share a water supply. We share firefighters. We share a lot of resources. So what are the problems that we can anticipate? Well, we don't know because on December 8th, 2025,
just over 7 months ago, the California Energy Commission approved a small power plant exemption for the backup generating facility under schedule number 2025-100607. The city of Pittsburgh also approved the exemption on December 11th, 2025. This is from your website. The exemption allows the project to proceed without the full CEQA environmental review process. With so many questions and so few answers, we must slow down and enact a moratorium to enable the community, including Contra Costa as a whole, to get the answers we need. So if we do proceed, it's done with safety and resources, and our community are safeguarded. Once answers are found, this project should be approved by Contra Costa Board of Supervisors and/or a ballot measure for a vote of the residents.
I've come to speak out in opposition to the data center development in Pittsburgh, specifically Project Perseus by Digital. Avaya wants to build a data center that will use 37 diesel backup generators to run power outage currents. These diesel engines will sit about 400 feet from homes and about 500 feet from Rancho Madamas Junior High School. Pittsburgh is not a dumping ground for Silicon Valley servers. Their own study states that cancer risks nearby residents is as high as 17 in 1 million. The Bay Area district's limit is 10 in 1 million. Diesel exhaust causes cancer and asthma, which impacts sensitive populations like children and the elderly the hardest. One of our community members went to St. Peter the Martyr Church on Sunday for the Spanish-speaking Sunday service. She collected easily over 100 signatures for our petition opposing the data center. Some of these community members don't have cell phones or email addresses, and they provided a written signature. I would like to ask how the council will address these people in the July 30th Zoom meeting. How will their concerns be addressed if they don't own a computer, have Zoom, or an email address? We are asking for a moratorium on phases 2 and 3 of this project. And I'm also asking for the city council to, whenever they release a YouTube video commenting on this project, that they turn on the comments. Additionally, I'm concerned about the zoning conversion proposal near the waterfront. The first use case for this proposal is a data center. We don't want that data center either. Thank you.
Hello. It sounds funny up here. On the topic of the data centers and the revenue, the bubble, the AI bubble is popping soon. There's a lot of cases of AI psychosis being recorded in hospitals all over the country. That's one of the main reasons data centers are getting banned, on top of the fact that they have incredible, irreversible effects to our nature and our environment. I'm tired. But yeah, as everyone said before, I'm not going to talk about all of the negative side effects it has. Everyone's already talked about that. But the AI psychosis is another thing that not a lot of people are talking about, because a lot of people are believing it in its ability to generate some fantastical religious thing. AI psychosis has been affecting many people, taking people into, making people take their lives, forcing people to go into hospitals, getting 5150, hurting themselves or others, and believing the fantastical idea that they are a prophet, or that there is a God come to save them, or that AI is going to take over the world in a pleasant manner, and that everyone's going to be okay. That's not true. A lot of the AI CEOs are talking about AI like it's the next big thing. Like, you guys are talking about our children learning about AI. Our children can't read. How are the children going to learn about AI and get these new job opportunities when there's no job opportunities? Instead of places where real people can work real jobs. The advancement of AI has been a heavy decline in job opportunities. And been a very big downfall in our economy as the AI rise has happened, and as this problem is starting to pop, you don't want to add another data center that's going to collapse and not bring you any revenue that you're looking for.
Next, we have Lucas Miranda, Pauline Johnson, Gretchen Egan, Jessica Rojas, and Mia Barajas. Again, that's Lucas Miranda, Pauline Johnson, Gretchen Egan, Jessica Rojas, and Mia Barajas. First speaker is Lucas Miranda.
Hello, I'm a 18-year-old Pittsburgh resident. I'm here to oppose the technology park, and I demand urgent moratorium. I'm disgusted by City Council's behavior and secrecy regarding this project, and it's disgusting to even consider a data center right next to the people you're supposed to be representing. This data center is only for the profit of those who own it, nothing else. It's not going to benefit me, it's not going to benefit anyone else in this room besides you, I don't know how much you're getting to support this, and the people who own it. The data center will also be used to increase mass surveillance that would unjustly criminalize residents of Pittsburgh, specifically Black and brown youth, where you're building this data center around. The more you avoid our demand, the more people are going to show up, the more you're not going to get elected, the more money you're going to lose. And yeah, we're not going to stop showing up until we get an urgent moratorium and a ban on all future data centers, including the one on the waterfront. Thank you.
Pauline Johnson. I'm here as a resident to bring clarity to the interests of ordinary citizens. I'm here concerned about the proposal for the zoning conversion on the waterfront to limited industrial with unlimited overlay. We understand that there isn't a finalized project, but I'm concerned that a data center is the first example use case written in the documents from April 2026. There's also a history of the city to pushing undesirable projects under our noses, it seems like. For example, the exclusive negotiating rights agreement with EDS was signed in 2017 before the golf course closed in 2018, as well as the resident pool. Why do you ask us when you streamline with developers behind the scenes? Thirdly, in a 13-month audit of data centers in Santa Clara, San Jose, and Sunnyvale, nearly 50% of the identified facilities ran their backup diesels for reasons other than routine testing and maintenance. Do the residents know that the 37 diesel generators introduces cancer risk? 17 in a million, above the 10 in a million threshold. The air district that Mayor Adams is on has already designated Pittsburgh as an overburdened community. I asked for reconsideration of this project. I also asked for a 2-year moratorium on all 3 phases. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gretchen Egan. I'm from Martinez, and although the data center is not in my city, it's only about 10 miles away from me. I'm outraged, like most people in this room, that the first phase of this data center was completed without public awareness. However, as angry as I am, threatening the city council with bodily harm is not going to help anybody fix what has been done. Although I must admit that everybody's been way better this time around. We all have to work together to fix the wrongs that have happened in Pittsburgh. Let's give Pittsburgh the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, the data center was trying to hide the fact that it is, in fact, a data center by calling it a technology park, which is totally deceitful. And the Pittsburgh City Council fell for it. Perhaps they didn't realize how truly horrible data centers are to the environment. Regardless, we know now and we need to fix things. I propose that the Pittsburgh City Council put a moratorium on continuing with phases 2 and 3. This is possible because they've done it in other cities. Do this before you start campaigning to keep your city council seats. To the people of Pittsburgh, if they can stop the data center from moving forward, then you can vote for them. And in Congress, Bernie Sanders and AOC currently are working on a bill to put a moratorium on all data centers as they realize the horrendous environmental impact. Several states have already put a moratorium on all data centers, even though construction has already begun. And California should join those states. But for now, let's just start with this one data center in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh deserves better, Contra Costa County deserves better, as does the state of California, the United States, and the entire world.
My name is Jessica, I'm a native of Pittsburgh, and I'm here once again to oppose the data center and request an immediate moratorium on all phases, and demand that you provide 3 minutes to all speakers on August 3rd, and that all 5 of the city council members show up to that meeting and be ready to answer questions and concerns. Continuing to push off this item to future agenda items is strategic and shameful. Announcing you made the next meeting a workshop is ridiculous. It's not a workshop, nor is it collaborative, when you're requiring questions to be submitted ahead of time. This is what you call leadership. That's a chance for you all to go through the questions ahead of time and decide which serve your agenda and which you will bury and not tell the public what was asked. The comment that builders won't want to work here anymore, good. We want our open land for our native animals and plants. The comment about jobs being unavailable, 90% of Pittsburgh residents can meet right now, and this data center will bring potentially 20 jobs maximum. So those points were all useless and made by the people who want to profit off of us and don't reside here in Pittsburgh. I want to know what phase 1. Will potable water be used? Yes or no? Will carbon-free energy be used? Yes or no? Where will they dispose of e-waste accumulated that contains mercury and lead and will further harm our soil? Will there be standalone environmental impact reports for each phase? Yes or no? I want you to require all of those things on all future phases if you abandon your duty to serve us, the people you swore to represent. We vote for you all to be sitting in that seat, so we expect, as the citizens you represent, to get this project out of our city, regardless of the cost, because the alternative is our water, our health, and the children across the street at the Community Sports Center and Rancho Junior High. There are over 25,900 signatures on that petition to stop this data center from infiltrating our community. We are sick of the games that the Pittsburgh City Council is playing. The public deserves a locked and transparent.
Hi, my name is Mia Barajas. I'm here in concern of the data center. I have something written up. I have lived here for years. I truly see a lot of potential with my city, and I wish for my memories in this town to last as long as possible. But me and my family can't do that with the data center in our backyard. And sadly, our city council put citizens' worries aside for extra money in their pockets without worrying about how the data center can affect everyone. And I think that if you have multiple people from around the Bay Area telling our city council that putting a data center here is wrong and morally corrupt, I think that you guys as a city council should listen. And thank you.
We have Amy Hernandez, Edgar Garcia, Cici Cardinale Macaluso, Aaron M., and Mike Katz. First speaker is Amy Hernandez, Edgar Garcia, Cici Cardinale Macaluso, Aaron M., and Mike Katz.
Good evening. I'm a native of Pittsburgh, raised here my entire life. I graduated from Pittsburgh High. I left and I thought I'd never return until I reconnected with my now husband and realized that coming home to the pride of Pittsburgh is where I belong, or at least I thought. We love this city, the multiculturalness, the unity. Pittsburgh used to be a place that people didn't even want to visit, and now everyone wants to live here. But that's all gonna change if this unwanted by the majority of the city data center gets built. We're raising my daughter here in Pittsburgh. Never did I think that this city would approve something so catastrophic for our community. I consider myself a reasonable person. And I understand that when the decision was made to move forward with this data center, there wasn't a lot known about data centers, but I find it hard to comprehend now that after knowing all about the catastrophic side effects that the data centers, well, which include, they've all been said, so I'm sure you know all the bad side effects, but knowing all of this now, how you're all up there still moving forward with this. And this is either out of just pure ignorance or greed. You're supposed to listen to your citizens and do what the people who voted for you want, right? And if you have any ounce of integrity, you would realize this and you could stop this from happening. You can still stop it. You'll have to keep the weight of this horrible decision for the rest of your lives. Maybe not now, but there'll be horrible side effects from the data centers that won't take long to show. There's thousands of videos everywhere that show this. I know most of this town is disappointed with you guys. But one thing everyone does have a choice, but one thing everyone does have is forgiveness.
City Council. First, I want to inform that the lady before me had 14 seconds left. But earlier in the meeting, you mentioned that you were open up Pittsburgh FAQ questions, and you mentioned us, and you said for us to check it out. So what did I do? I went ahead and checked it out, and one of the questions that stood out to me is about the diesel backup generators. To start, the question is for how often will they run and what are the expected annual emissions and will the data be publicly reported? And in the answer, you mentioned that the generators are assumed, a very bad word, doesn't even say how long or anything, there's no confirmation, it's just a bad term, assumed. That's what you posted, to operate 50 hours per year. And to explore 4,200 nanometric tons of carbon dioxide. The Bay Area quality air district's threshold is 10,000. So when you do the math, 37 diesel generators only have to run for 5 days straight. And guess what? These data centers run 24/7, 365 days a year. Do you really think that they're gonna run for only 5 days when they put up 37 diesel generators? And again, in your question, don't even mention about posting the data publicly. You've had 2 years to put all of this together. You've been having this project for 2 years, and you can't even properly answer your FAQ.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. My name is Consuelo Cici Macaluso, and I'm here today to speak as a resident, but I guess I could save a lot of this for the meeting on August 3rd. So, because a lot of it was, can you please put this on the agenda for the city? So I want to say thank you for putting it on the agenda. So I hope we have enough time and a full 3 minutes to thoroughly talk about our concerns moving forward. But some of the concerns that I have that I would really want to focus on is the city continuing to mask the data center verbiage with green tech? And are we, as a council, planning on to add additional data centers along the old steel mill or the waterway on the Delta? That's a concern of mine moving forward, since we've already approved the current one at the golf course. So my ask tonight would be to immediately put in a moratorium on the current approval data center on golf course, and then revisit the current verbiage that we have in the city about the green technology to see if there's any other plans and projects in our wake that we should be concerned about as a community. So, and ultimately, like one of my community members said earlier, is you know, everybody has an opportunity to right their wrongs, and if you guys made a mistake on voting voting yes on this project for our city, it's still not too late to, you know, reconsider what you've done and to leave a better legacy for your future and your career in politics. So, thank you.
Hello, Council, Mayor. It is an honor to be here alongside my community, speaking out about this AI data center. It's starting to feel like that the more money you have, the more precious your words are. Because you let these multi-billion-dollar corporations step into Pittsburgh and just blow away everything. With this threat of an AI data center being built around communities. Our people, the people of Pittsburgh, we stood out there in the rain against corporal greed endorsed by you folks. And that's twisted. That's not how democracy is supposed to be. You folks had initially planned this AI data center, 8 years ago? And you're just now starting to hold an official rally informing the folks of Pittsburgh and the Bay Area about what's going on, supposedly on July 30th. It's just not good for the community. Definitely. And earlier, a union guy, suit and tie, said maybe this AI data center will have new job opportunities, but I see out there in San Francisco, taxi drivers were replaced by Waymo.
Right.
And also, I hear that the AI data center is going to take away water and make the water dirty. Some of my friends have to rely on tap water as drinking water due to their economical situation. And during droughts, will they be able to survive, let alone have to get a job? Thank you for your time.
Fatima Alexa, Anthony Dow, Martha Miranda, and Isabel Morales. It's Emmanuel Ron, Fatima Alexa, Anthony Dow, Martha Miranda, and Isabel Morales.
Hello everyone, this is an honor to speak here with my community. I'm against data centers. I think all of it provides is just not good for anyone, and I think you already made it clear that we do not want it at all. It only brings negative things, it doesn't even, it's useless. And after one of the greens here, you called us ignorant for not wanting it and not wanting the new technology, and I think that you guys yourself are ignorant by wanting that because you hear all these negative things and you hear how much it's going to affect the community in negative ways. I live right there. It's right next to a middle school. I don't understand how you guys can sit by and agree this and have this on conscience for 8 years, thinking that's going to go for 8 years. And then only by 2024, you bring into the community and soft, like, you had said that you notified all like the people living in that area and they already agreed to it and it's already like it's time to go for it, like it's already gonna happen, but that's not true. My family, my house, I live so close there, I got nothing, I know nothing about it up until like recently. I think that you guys work for us, you guys work for us. I think you guys are not getting that clear. We do not want that, please. We put you in office, please listen to the people, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good job.
Good evening, I'm an abolitionist and resident of East Contra Costa County. I have a degree in urban and environmental policy and a master's degree in social work. I've spent nearly half of my life now as an organizer, advocate, and researcher alongside youth of color, working class families, and incarcerated populations. So in solidarity with Pittsburgh youth, families, and residents, I urge you to grant an indefinite moratorium on the Perseus Data Center development. This agenda item is a racial, gender, economic, disability, labor, and environmental justice issue. Here, the development will negatively affect the health of at least 3,000 students in 5 schools within a 1-mile radius. Over 80% of Pittsburgh residents are either Latinx, Black, or Asian. Nationally, we've seen that data centers disproportionately burden working class Black and non-Black communities of color with severe health, environmental, and economic consequences. Pittsburgh is a multi-generational, family-oriented city at risk of an increase in asthma cases, hearing loss, and premature death. All data centers, whether they use renewable energy or not, burn diesel exhaust, a known carcinogen with no safe exposure level. The 24/7 sound and light pollution is torture for wildlife and local families. Lastly, we are the unceded indigenous land of the of the Bay Wolf people. The contaminated water produced by data centers will be released into the environment, which will alter our health, wildlife, delta, land, and food for generations. Working class families in Monterey Park, California voted to ban data centers because they know working class families deserve healthy, thriving communities. Voters in Missouri voted out half of their city council for voting against a moratorium on data centers. I urge you to pass a definite moratorium on the development of data centers in Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Anthony Down.
Good evening, Council. So I'm not gonna bring up a lot of the points that they had, because I thought they really been hammering everything spot on, right? I'm a retired construction worker, right, 40 years, a union, right? The company that I retired for did probably one of the largest companies in the United States, right? I was a manager there for 25 years, okay, coming from the field. We did a lot of data centers, we did a lot of tech work, we did a lot of work for Google, Apple, the whole 9 yards. I've done job walks on data centers from Nevada to Texas to Virginia. And I can tell you right now, the gentleman, the construction guy right there that spoke on it, I'm not in agreement with that. I'm against data centers. But I can tell you right now, walking the sites, when they're done, it's a ghost town. I don't know if you guys ever walked the site, the data center, right? You check in, there's security there. You walk in, you got a couple of maintenance guys, that is it. No jobs. All the jobs are front loaded with construction for 2 to 3 years max. After that, nothing. Okay? I think to give you guys some advice, if you want to focus on maybe some high dollar revenue, maybe focus on maybe something like what Google did at Moffett Field, right? Build a campus, high paying jobs, something like what Meta did in Menlo Park, something like Oracle did in Redwood City. High paying jobs, get these people off the freeways where they don't have to commute 3 hours a day of their life just to make enough money to earn a living to buy a house. Right now, everybody's that's gotta stop. I got excited about this center.
Thank you, Speaker. Can we have Mara from Miranda, please? Mara from Miranda.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Mani Fed. I'm a community organizer with Monument Impact, in case you couldn't tell. But I'm also here as a resident of Bay Point, specifically the San Marcos community. The voices of my mixed status family and neighbors are often ignored. We've been ignored as our hills have been excavated in the last decade, increasing traffic while the rents have gone up, and ignoring continuing environmental issues, including our wildlife being run over constantly and going into people's homes, killing their pets. That has happened. And so this isn't an accident, it's all domino effect. And I want to reassure, no municipal advisory committee or ad hoc committee is going to solve this type of neglect. Our community is just as impacted, but has not been considered on this decision. And like I mentioned to you all at the economic development meeting 2 weeks ago, if you continue to push this issue back, and larger resistance and pushback is going to come from the residents as you see today. ABIO Digital has even bragged publicly about their strategy to secure land and locking in power agreements ahead of anticipated congestion in top-tier data center markets. ABIO procure power and lock it in to bypass the big congestion, calling it just-in-time capital. That's all we are to them. Cost-cutting opportunity for them and destruction completely for us. We demand a 2-year moratorium on all phases of this proposed technology park data center. And in preparation for August 3rd, I personally want to urge you as a council to seek guidance from us for a citywide ordinance committing to zero AI data center development, because this is not just your future. You will not be here later. This is mine. Thank you.
Thank you, good evening everyone. My name is Isabel Morales and I've been working like promotora in several projects in the city. And it's very easy, guys. We need transparency. We need please the translation of all the documentation about the project and the data center to Spanish or any language that the community needs. We don't need any webinar. We need a sit with you face to face and review all the information. And please, in these coming meetings, one advice, we need translation, please. We need a translation, And another thing, we don't want to hear, oh, there's no problem with the data center, everything will be fine. No, we need evidence. We need the information, we need the investigation, because all of we are prepared for all of this information to sit with you and discuss it. So we are members of the same team, right? We are not here to fight. We need to fix this together. And we need the support for this. Thank you. Thank you.
The next two speakers are participating remotely. So first speaker on Zoom, we have Mike Katz-Lackaby.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Mike Katz-Lackaby. I'm the Director of Research for Open Privacy. It looks like you have a lot on your plate tonight, but I got one more to add for you. As a result of a recent public records request, I discovered that the Pittsburg Police Department is illegally sharing license plate reader data with San Diego Sector Border Patrol, a federal agency. And the Freeway Safety Network, administered by the Pittsburg Police Department, is sharing license plate reader data with the IRS. Now, sharing license plate reader data with federal and out-of-state agencies became illegal in 2016 when SB 34 was signed into law. However, so many agencies were failing to comply with the law that the California Department of Justice issued an information bulletin in October 2023 to remind law enforcement agencies that they can't do this. Now, Section 432.5C of the Pittsburgh Police Department policy states ALPR system audits should be conducted on a regular basis. This is also a requirement under SB 34. However, it appears that either audits are not being conducted as required, or the audits are not thorough enough to check whether the police department is actually complying with California state law. Not only is it disappointing that the agency tasked with enforcing the law is itself failing to follow the law, its actions have endangered the Pittsburgh community and its neighbors. I look forward to this violation of state law being quickly addressed in a transparent investigation into how this happened, how long it's been occurring, accountability for those responsible, and a plan for how it will be prevented in the future. Thank you very much for your time.
Next speaker on Zoom is Jenny Morales.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Hi, hello Pittsburg Council, I'm Jennifer Morales, the Community Organizing Manager for the Community Engagement Program at Monument Impact. We're here to support community demands against the data center. This issue is big because the council decided to make a huge decision for a very tight-knit community that did not involve thorough community involvement. But I also at this point, there's been enough public comment to know that you have a chance to correct this decision. And so at this point, it should really be about council looking at how to get this contract canceled. This is a land justice issue, and people have done their research as we see through comment, which includes looking into the company that you made this contract with. So when we say that we don't want an FAQ or webinar, it's because we've done the research and it's ultimately led the community to say we don't want a data center. If this decision came from caring about Pittsburgh and its prosperity and like trying to bring jobs here, then you have to think about how it's a multi-generational city, including members of this community having gone to elementary school with some of you. So if we're thinking about its prosperity and protecting community long-term, then think about passing ordinances that will protect its community from gentrification or high cost of living through protections like rent control and just cause. Choosing to go through with this decision and doing nothing about it is what you will be remembered for, and I don't think that's what you want. And so we need a moratorium and for this issue to be put on the agenda now. And I just wanted to reiterate Isabel Morales' comment that these meetings need to be translated for community members who do not speak English. Because we've had this couple people come up to us, we've had to translate for them, and it should really be up to the council to be able to provide this. Thank you.
Speaker card that was just turned in from Patty McAllister. Patty McAllister? Hi, I just came here after work, but I want to let you know, you guys are talking about a translator. You guys need to buy one of those machines, they're not that expensive versus wanting to put in a motel over here, whatever you want. You need to consider these citizens, it's ridiculous. And consider us because none of you probably live near there. And the effects that this is gonna have on us is outright ridiculous. And we want a moratorium on this, and you know what, you need to hear our side. Have some compassion. You are all given hearts, and you need to open your heart and listen to what everybody's been saying all night long, because it's not right the way you guys have done all these citizens to go ahead and slam this in our face and say, screw you, I don't give a heck about you, I'm just worried about my pocketbook. Well, that's not right, people. And these people have been through a lot, and I've lived here a long time myself. And it's really sad the way you just turned against us and lied to us, because I know you have. And you all know that it's not right. And you need to really think about this, because you should be really ashamed of yourself. I don't know how you can sleep at night with all you guys have done to all these citizens that work hard, come here every day, go to work on that disgusting freeway out there, to come back here and to live here and try to do things. And you're not providing things that we need. And you've got the opportunity to do things like that. Put things that it would get revenue. You can't get revenue from a data center, but like a 7-Eleven, whatever. You know, revenue means money that keeps coming in, and you guys need to start doing that, considering things that are right for all of us. And I really hope you open up your eyes and your hearts. Thank you. No more public comment on non-agenda items here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you to everybody that provided public comment, much appreciated. And it's important that we hear your voices, so thank you for what you shared. Hopefully everybody will stay and have some business to tend to that I think is important. We will move into the public hearing portion of our agenda next. It's item number 5, which is the adoption of the city council resolution confirming. Thank you for coming, ladies. Confirming the engineer's report and district diagram and ordering a levy for citywide landscaping and light assessment district 1988-1 for fiscal year 2026-2027. We have Sharon Pass and Administrative Panels 2 doing the presentation tonight. Welcome. Thank you everyone for coming.
Good evening, Mayor Adams, council members, Mr. City Manager, staff, and members of the public. This evening I'll present information on the annual renewal for the citywide landscape and lighting assessment district, 1988-1. The Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972 permits local governments to recoup the proportional share of losses that provide a special and direct benefit to properties within the district boundaries. Proportional share and special and direct benefit are important concepts on which the amount of the assessment charge on the parcel owner's maximum is directly maintained on the benefit that property receives. Assessments for the citywide district will be for proportion of the following improvements.
Sharon, if you wouldn't mind just for a second.
Yes.
Chief, could I have you close the doors as people are waiting so that we can Sorry.
So assessments for the citywide district pay for a portion of the following improvements: street lights, street trees, and all of the landscaping, all of our parks, the rights of way, and the Act of 1972 has a few requirements for the annual district renewal. One is the preparation of an engineer's report that includes a district diagram showing the boundaries and the properties to be assessed. It includes plans and specifications describing the general nature and the location of the landscaping and lighting improvements. It includes a cost estimate of maintenance operations and services.
Alright, we're gonna get the hell out of here.
For beginning of fiscal year. And it includes the total cost of the improvements to be assessed on a proportion to the special benefit received by each parcel. Another requirement is to hold this public hearing, providing the opportunity for public comment and discussion. After, the city council can levy the assessment by sending the roll of parcels to the county assessor's office to be listed as a separately stated item on the county tax bill. And this image is an example of what appears on the tax bill for a single family residence. That is fantastic. The boundary of the citywide district includes the entirety of the city.
Did you make those posters?
Actually, the man was making them out there in the street.
Just giving them out?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Good job on showing up, everyone.
Which way is the way, ain't it? Guess it was this way. So different in the dark. Alright, that was it. One of these days I'll have to come here and just record a little audio video. You know, it's already been done here many times, so they probably won't care, but somebody might. Here's the NBC douchebag that decided to stand right in front of me. Ooh, rubbing my pretty. Oh snap. Oh. And now I gotta go sneak into my truck and take my mask off and not be seen. So that's the end of that. I'm on my way home. Island City Media, I think. Yeah, oh yeah, I can't go live on any other channel. Alright, Island City Media. How the fuck do you stop this thing again? I do this every time. Why won't it let me stop? How do I stop this thing? Pittsburg, California. Oh, there we go, okay. Good night. Show me your tits. No.